We are live. So, welcome everyone on the very first stream of the year from Mobile People community. I'm glad to open the new session of the technical talks. And thank you for making the time for joining joining this session. And thank you for all watching recording after the stream who use double speed, double thank you. So let me share my screen. So while I'm sharing, if you hear me well, please type something in the chat. Okay, I hope you hear me well. So let's get started. Today, we are going to focus on the talk related to Figma and how it can enhance our level of engineering, productivity. Yeah, the talk is not a tutorial of Figma, but I'm sure that after the talk, you will walk away with desire to try Figma at your work in some maybe unexpected cases. Yeah, if you didn't try it before. So let me introduce the agenda. The first, I will share my personal thoughts and feelings about UX UI design in general. Yeah, then I will focus on basic Figma features, tools, and different use cases. With many of them, you are probably familiar. Then after I will make a brief introduction on some advanced features of and parts of Figma. And at the end, I will guide you to FigJam, another tool of Figma, and we will make a conclusion in outro. So before we move on, let me mention that if you are watching it from via community platform, please join us on YouTube. And only on YouTube I have possibility to check your comments. I see many, thank you, all of them. Yeah, and as we go along, you can ask anything related to the topic, and at the end I will check and maybe answer on most interesting questions. Yeah, if you have any questions. So let's begin with self-introduction. Who I am. My name is Aplachikov Alexander. I'm a mobile developer with experience in Android and Flutter. So I have some background in design also. And this is on the picture me. This is my dog Happy. And the ruins behind me, this is my last project. So let's begin with the story. Some time ago, maybe 10 years ago, I joined a company which developed a golf application. And it was offered to me to implement such screen. Assuming that it was 10 years ago, the problem with this screen was that I was and I am an Android developer. And this is screen for iOS platform. Yeah, it was a pain to implement such screen with these gradients, with the shadow. It required a lot of my personal resources. And 10 years ago, iOS looked like this. On the left slide, has own style, and on Android there were no material guidelines. Yeah, there were some outdated guidelines, but people. Nobody understand me why I want to implement another design, not iOS design, because our customers and users mostly they were iOS users. Designers who developed this mobile application, it was his first experience, and he came from web, learned some iOS guidelines, and implements the design. And he was a iOS user. Yeah, and I just started to explain, guys, how we can adapt and implement this screen for Android. And we sometimes we act as a designers, yeah, because we know what exactly we need to draw. We guide designers what control they need to use to draw something, yeah, that aligned with the platform. Sometimes we edit the photos like this guy in this picture, add some contrast, filters on our TikTok, Instagram, whatever, yeah. And if you are doing these two things, explain designs what to do and use these filters, I congratulate you that graphic design is your passion. Yeah, the only difference between you, a professional, and professional designers, you don't know specific tools that they can use. So let me maybe virtually ask you what's the best way to explain information. And unfortunately, this online audience, but the answer is a better way to show this information. Yeah, we since humanity appeared, we share some stories with help of pictures. Yeah, we draw something in case since humanity appeared. Yeah, and this picture contains a lot of details instead of thousands of words that we can use. We are doing almost the same right now. We share our graffitis with the story. Of course, this is a beautiful example of this graffiti. On our streets right now, we see many ugly tags, yeah, but some people are trying to just deliver some message, deliver their story with help of visualization. Yeah, turning to the mobile, if you don't know specific tools what to design, sometimes we draw with help of pencil and paper and our hands. And you see, this is just a login and profile. And here with lines, we see the flow between the screens. It's pretty understandable. You don't even need to have specific design skills. So, and let me make a conclusion here with the first part of my introduction. So only if you want to play a role of, let's say, designer, only mobile designer, I mean UX UI designer, you need only logic and empathy. Yeah, as you are engineers, developers, we are already logic people because we are able to do logic things, write algorithms. Yeah, and empathy, it doesn't mean what in this picture. Yeah, empathy in my particular case example, this ability to understand user needs and user feelings. If you work closer with the application as a developer, you very often understand how to suggest some user experience improvements and make the experience of user more engaged. For example, separate flow on several pages. If you're a platform developer, you know guidelines better than usually designers know it. Yeah, for example, material and other guidelines. You can suggest what exact controls that can be used on design to speed up the implementation of this design. So, yeah, but let's consider how can we apply our nature ability to design, to draw something with help of Figma and make it in a more professional level if you need. So I will show the example how Figma is similar to ideas that we use. This is Figma. Of course, many of you know what it is. Yeah, on the left side, we have a column with frames. On the center, we have endless whiteboard where people collaborate each other. On the right, we have specific details of the design. Yeah, and the most powerful features of Figma, it's real-time, it works in cloud. It means that we can enter the artboard of Figma at any device, web, yeah, collaborate together, write some comments, update it, and it's a very powerful tool. It replaces most of the let's say it replaces many tools with help of one, and it kind of free. It doesn't mean that it, let's say, we don't need to pay for it, but it covers many needs for single users. Since Figma joined to Adobe, the big corporation that holds many applications for design, yeah, right now is Figma offer different pricing model. models. I'm not going to dive into some pricing details, but let me assure you that for usual users, Figma, to have a free Figma is enough. For example, I'm a user of Figma maybe for more than 5 years, and I still use free starter plan. Yeah, I don't need to use it in pricing. Even in some projects, people use one account. Okay, so with help of Figma, we can do something like this. We can design our mobile applications. With help of designers, we can do prototypes. I just took an example from the first part. I made a prototype, and I'm not going to show how to make this prototype, but believe me, it's not so difficult, and it looks like in our IDEA when we create the navigation flow between several screens. It's pretty easy, and this you see, you don't need to draw something. You can make a photo and make this prototype is clickable. It's pretty easy, believe me. So another interesting feature of Figma that maybe developers understand it better than designers. Yeah, but it's not in a free plan, but we can apply design changes using merge strategies, some Git flow strategies and branching strategies. Sorry for that. And what it happens, it was created a merge request for changes and added some review, and we are going to merge it without review. Yeah, Figma looks like a usual idea. Okay, the most, let's say, interesting feature for developers that was introduced not a long time ago, maybe the last year, it's DevMode. DevMode is still on beta. And what it is, if you open Figma, you will see the switcher on the top right side. And if you enable it, you will see the part of interface will be hidden. Yeah, and all not necessary details for developers will be hidden. Yeah, and only what you need for developers, some part of code, some part of margins, you will see with help of this mod. And not only, you are able to export the code that was designed in Figma to some of the languages, and with using specific dimensions of your platform. And currently, it supports CSS. Officially, it supports SwiftUI, Compose on Android, and XML, of course. But if you need more, if you use another language, if you use Dart on Flutter, you, with help of search in plugins, plugins is the second tab on the right side, you can search everything you need to cover. Let me focus you on some example. Plugin Low Coffee for free beta right now. I didn't try this plugin, but it will allow you to download the design, export the design with help of AI. And this is basically how I see the future of developing these plugins in Figma. Yeah, they will export code and make it more, let's say, relevant to real work. So another, maybe the most interesting feature of development mode, it's making the design ready for development. It's easy. We often in the situation that we don't know which design is ready for development, because designers tends to change design and we don't know when they stop to do it. Yeah, they can just mark the design ready for development. In our interface, we will see on the top left of the side, the design is ready for development, and we can take and proceed to work with it. So these ADAs that we see on this screen, for example, Visual Studio, they officially support integration Figma inside ADA. Yeah, for example, here we have no IntelliJ IDEA, but I'm sure, I believe that it will appear in Android Studio. Let me show you how it works on Visual Studio. It just provides you interface of Figma inside Visual Studio, and you can easily export your you can check paddings margins and export your code in a specific language. So, but basically it just provides interface of Figma. Yeah, if you're a very boring person to open it via web. Yeah. Okay, let's go. So the next slide is Figma community. This is powerful tool of Figma. When we use search in Figma, sometimes it opens search in a community. Community is a collection of assets that can be reused for free or for pay. And this collection can be divided on several hashtags and topics. For example, mobile. Yeah, I just tried to open this community page and search by hashtag of mobile. Here we have wireframes, 3D icons, fully designed application for finance that consists 200 of screens. Yeah, it's not free, but for your training purposes, if you would like to train or close to real, you can download it and use it. For example, collection of smiles. Yeah, it can be easily downloaded in PNG or other format. Yeah, and can be integrated inside your presentation. For example, if you use it at PowerPoint, or you can use it at application, or just copy paste in your Figma file. Another example with icon. This is mobile icons that can be easily changed with changing of colors or size. Yeah, it can be downloaded as SVG files. But pay attention for license. For some icons it's free to use, for some icons it's not free to use. Free collection is material icons, if you don't know what it is. My particular case, I have to design database diagram. I didn't know specific tools for designing it. Of course, I could use, I don't know, PowerPoint. Yeah, I'm not a user of some email diagrams designer. I just found this collection, copy paste, and makes my own vision of database scheme just for my personal purposes. And it was quite easy to me to establish connection between these fields used for in primary keys, whatever. Yeah, it was quite easy, quite obvious for me as a developer, because working with Figma is similar like working PowerPoint in specific case. Okay, let's continue with advanced features of Figma that probably can be not used at real work, yeah, but can, let's say, I just want to introduce some interesting aspects of Figma, maybe interesting for developers. The first, this software, for example, Microsoft Teams that we often use at EPAM, they officially support integration Figma inside the UIs on some level. For example, this particular example of using Microsoft plugin, instead of sharing your screen, you can just integrate your Figma and collaborate with your team together on the same page. Yeah, not so much different between sharing the screen, but anyway, it is possible with help of REST API. And Figma provide you many tools for making the specific plugins and integrate Figma options, Figma possibilities to your application or software. Yeah, it's possible with the rest of API. And here we see Figma developers portal that can provide the full guidance of using their API. Another type of API is widget API. Yeah, let me make a note here. It can be written on only TypeScript, maybe not so relevant for mobile developers that they use, who use Swift, Kotlin, Dart, whatever. Maybe React Native guys can learn. It's more easy to learn TypeScript for them. Widget API. With help of widget API, we can do some gamification things and something that can work on Artboard or Figma or FigJam. Yeah, for example, this is a game that can be played by users. Some widget for voting, for polling, photo booth, for example. Yeah, it can be. You can make give access to making the photo, and you can make a photo of your teammates. It will work on artboard. You just click on this, and your picture will be appeared. So the next plugin API, and it was mentioned before. We see plugin tab, and each plugin that we can find in this tab can be made with help of plugin API. And let me provide you a specific example for Android development that use power of REST API and plugin API. Rely. It makes a handoff for Android UI. It means that you can connect your design to the code in Android Studio. Let me, of course, you can Google it, find it, but let me show you a brief and short demo. I just tried to maybe divide in a few steps how to do it. First, you need to, let's say, make a design in Figma. For example, design a card, stop your text settings, picture, whatever. Then you install in your Android Studio Rely plugin. And with help of importing packages, you just need to establish connection between your account and Figma and your working documents. And that's it. After setuping, you can build the project and update the design. If the connection is established, it will generate you a code. And believe me, it tries to generate it more useful way with using enums. It tries to understand. It's still in beta, maybe in alpha. Yeah, but it's tried to generate a code most relevant to real development. But I'm sure that it will be improved and it will work better and better, especially with help of AI. And after each change your design, for example, if you, let's say, provide frequent changes or design, or your designer is crazy guy who changed font a lot, you just rebuild your project and it's rebuild this card for you. It's quite specific, but in the internet you can find a lot of introduction of this plugin. Another maybe interesting tool, not related to specifically to API of Figma, but it can be interesting and can be used for developers. It's utility command line tool for Figma Expert. I didn't try it, but it allow you to export a code for collection, for different assets to Xcode, Android Studio, and even typography, icons, and whatever. You can find it in Google. It has a lot of star, and some people use it in design of Figma. Of course, if you have very, say, big and rich projects, it's a good tool for using. Okay, the specific tool that Figma, not everybody knows that it's made by Figma team, but let me show you a quick demo instead of many words what it is. Okay, some people collaborate on some artboard, play music, start timer, and it's kind of retrospective when people vote for it. Okay. Right now, we are trying to establish a flow, set up a flow, sign up flow probably. Okay, seems to be this is a project plan, Gantt diagram, yeah, for 3 months with a launch date. So what I showed you, it's not clear what is it because we can use it in many things. Figma, this is official title. What is it? It's right tool for any job. And this is kind of true because, it shows like was showed. It can be used easily for diagramming, for making diagram, for example, user flows, or any diagram that you prefer. We can use Figma for team writers with this type of stickers and with anything related to it. We can even find a collection of beautiful assets for Figma Jam, and for example, can use it at database diagram example of making architecture examples, or even for designing for design interviews. For example, the first time when I seen this tool at real life, it was an example of design interview. Interviewer uses the timer on the left side, and they collaborate together on this artboard and make architecture for Android layers. Yeah, semester planning. Why not? If you're studying, if you're a student, or you work at school, you can plan your semester, use the stickers, whatever job you need. Okay, you may say me something, Alex, that nobody used FigJam at real work. This is specific examples, probably not be used in production, but I could say, of course, I could show you a FigJam official page with cases when big companies use it, with big brands. But let me show you a specific example of my friend. He has a startup, more than 2 million downloads his application have, and they tried many tools, paid for some tools, but for example, how they use Figma. They use for designing marketing emailing strategy. Yeah, I'm not going to zoom in to this because it's not this information is not relevant to the talk, but they use, yes, they design this as a scheme and collaborate each other, discuss this marketing strategy. The another example how they use, they collect bugs and try to specify for different, let's say, specify different problems and collect it together in columns, and developers took these bugs and proceed work on it. Okay, they also review competitors on the markets. Yeah, for example, they just make screen and discuss, yeah, what's good on this design, can we apply in our design this, yeah, because they try to discuss and inspire on each specific screen. Yeah, and also Figma is very suitable for such work. So yeah, and this is particular project, they use, let's say, Figma first approach. They use FigJam and Figma, and that's it for development, what they use. Okay, and we can, AI, yeah, like a big elephant in the room. And of course, Figma provides specific AI tools. Let me show a quick demo how it may work at Figma. This is a community page, a playground. You can also find and download it. And here they have an example of kind of retrospective. Yeah, some people complain a lot about their works, or they discuss how to improve and make the work more engaged. So, and if you click on this square, you can use this magic button and, for example, sort these stickers, because we often need, we don't know how, but we spend a lot of time for sorting it, but it's sort instead of us. Yeah, just divided by encouraged participation, balancing activities, break, utilization, and whatever ground tools. It's quite nice. Yeah, and you can try your own examples here. Another tool is summarizing. Let's do it again. Push the button summarize, and it makes summary instead of us. Yeah, basically it's quite a good example of the specific tools, and of course it's not enough. There is a lot of another interesting AI things that you can work. You can start do with FigJam, for example, brainstorming, Gantt chart, and whatever. Yeah, try. Okay. So we discussed AI, and let's make a conclusion. Yeah. So Yeah, if you would like to learn Figma, I'm pretty sure that you don't need to spend a lot of time on learning it. You don't need to finish specific design courses, yeah, or specific education, spend the years of learning it, because a lot of free materials is accessible on internet. So, and if you would like to, let's say, start, I suggest you visiting helpfigma.com and watch through tutorials that Figma provides, some GIF files, some video files. Also, I can suggest you, let's say, micro learning activities. For example, subscribe on some TikTok, YouTube Reels account, when during 1 minute you can scroll while you're doing doom scrolling. You can learn some small specific features of Figma, and you can learn something new. Of course, you by watching you will not learn, but at least you will be aware, and you can bookmark these small tutorials of using Figma. So, and the general idea that Pareto principle, for Figma, it works like if you know 20% of how tools of Figma, you can cover your 80% of needs. It's some kind of this. Yeah, if you're a user of ADS, if you are a developer or engineer or QA tester, yeah, if you have worked with PowerPoint and other tools, make your own presentation, yeah, you are already is able to use interface of Figma. So turning to the title of my presentation, enhancing productivity. Let me show my particular example how it improved my productivity. Of course, I use Figma in some design specific, but the most interesting thing, I started to use Figma at designing my presentation. And this presentation made with Figma, and right now I am just sharing the screen with this presentation. It also can be used, you can download it as PDF, yeah, and it gives me, let's say, I speed up my productivity with using this type of presentations. So, and the general my key message, I want to encourage you to use power your imagination, whatever tools you use, and boost your creativity, whatever tools you use, Figma or not, and what you can improve at your real life and your efficiency, productivity. Use just power visualization and visualize your ideas and share it with help of Figma. So basically that's it for today. We have ample of time. Let's move on to the Q&A session. If you need anything to ask related to Figma, please ask. Or you can just contact me, reach me out directly in Microsoft Teams at EPAM, yeah, and contact me directly. So, remember the selectors, actually. I don't remember which selectors you mean, but anyway. Okay, Igor mentions that Figma are not a part of Adobe. Igor, I'm not sure about it. I know that it's not a part of a Creative Suite products as was showed on the screenshot. Yeah, you cannot download it like a Creative Suite. But from what I know, Adobe bought Figma. Maybe it was changed. Let me check after the presentation. Yeah, but right now we can download it with Creative Suite, and it's free to use on figma.com. Svetlana is asking, can you recommend YouTube channel about Figma for beginners? Cannot recommend a specific channel. I try how I usually when I try to learn something from Figma, usually it happened when I stuck somewhere. For example, how to make a rectangle with rounded corners. Yeah, I just Google this specific question and watch some small tutorials. I don't want to watch a big tutorials, or how to make a circle avatar. with help of Figma. Yeah, I'm searching for it. I'm solving my task, and now and I do some micro learning. A lot of materials is available on YouTube. Maybe try to find your best and your specific that suits you. But don't spend too much time. Just practice if you want like to learn it more and more. Okay. Second question: can you propose Figma with PenPod if you used it? Compare. No, I didn't use PenPod. Yeah, and Figma, FigJam is tries to replace many tools that exist right now. Yeah, even let's say Miro, Jira, or whatever. And it depends on if you're already using your team's one specific tool and it cover all your needs. I don't think that we need to switch. You need to switch to another tool. Yeah, if you have something, if you find in FigJam and Figma something that can be usable for you, why don't you try this? For example, people ask me, it's not possible to replace a Jira. Yeah, because Jira is kind of combined harvester, and of course, because of lack of features, FigJam cannot replace it, but it can your team work more engaging. For example, you can start with conducting retrospectives in Figma, use AI, yeah, then export PDF in your Jira files, and that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to show you some interesting cases where Figma and FigJam can be applicable. But anyway, Figma right now is a standard of UX and UI designing. Yeah, and it replaces a lot of instruments, even for professionals. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for the question for today. Yeah, I will try to Google what's a PenPod, and maybe it's interesting. I will learn it and will share another talk. So on that note, guys, thank you for your time today. Please give us your reactions, dislikes, likes. Yes, thank you very much for watching this. Thank you very much for watching this in recordings, and hope you see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.